All right, so for this first exercise, I have you cross your hands and then link your fingers together, and I'm pulling one wrist up, putting it into a flexed position. What this is going to be doing is stretching the extensors of your forearms. Your extensors are the forearm muscles that lie on the top part of your forearm. The flexors are on the bottom. And so what I'm doing is I'm actively pulling one wrist down to allow those muscles to stretch. This would be a great movement for you to practice, especially if you've been typing or just on the computer all day and you just need a quick little break in between. This is an excellent movement for you to practice. And as you see here, I'm doing it about 5 to 10 times on each side. The next one is going to be for the neck. So I'm crossing my hands over my body, pulling onto my clavicle, my shoulder bone. I lean my head back and tilt it to one side. Once I tilt it to that one side, I'm going to stay in that position and then just nod yes 3 times, and then I'm going to nod no. So basically what I'm doing is I'm putting my neck into an extended position, elevating my jawline, which is going to be stretching the front parts of my neck. That way, as I'm nodding up and down, nodding yes and no, that's going to allow me to stretch all aspects of the front part of my neck. Again, another good stretch that you can practice, especially if you've been sitting stagnantly or statically for long periods of time. I'm going to do both sides here. And as I'm going yes and no, or nodding up and down, side to side, I'm actively just trying to slightly pull on my clavicle here with my hands. And again, that's just going to give me a little bit of external feedback and allow me to feel a little bit more of the stretch all the way down to the top parts of my shoulder blade. I like to close my eyes because I really just like to focus on feeling the stretch on this one. I really think this is beneficial, especially for me if I've been sitting a lot or just looking at screens for probably too long. Great time to just decompress from there. All right, and so for this next one, what I'm going to do is bring my chair to the lowest position it can get to. I'm going to tuck my hips underneath me and then just slowly squat down. So we're going to do 10 reps of squats here. As I'm squatting down, I'm actively inhaling through my nose and actively and aggressively exhaling through my mouth as I come up. All right, so what that should sound like is, right? I'm going to do this 10 times and I'm reaching forwards, trying to push my armpits forwards. So hopefully I can get a little bit more recruitment from my upper internal obliques. Right, your obliques again are your side abs. So when I'm exhaling aggressively, that's what it's going to allow me to really turn and activate those obliques, turn those obliques on, excuse me. And again, so when I'm keeping my hips tucked underneath me, I'm actively thinking of feeling my hamstrings, right? These are muscles that are never being worked when you're sitting. It's always hip flexors. And that leads me into this next stretch. So I'm going to elevate one foot on this chair here. If the chair is higher than your butt cheek, grab a pillow for your knee so that you're not over flexing already. And what I'm doing with this position, if you see my hands, I have fists and I'm pushing down on my desk and pulling myself towards that desk. So I'm trying to move my entire body forwards as the knee that's down is staying still. And now you'll come to see that I'm doing pause reps. So I do 3 reps, just regular speed, and I'm doing 3 reps with a long pause at the bottom. At the end range. And so what this is doing is it's putting your hip into a very extended position, hopefully with a still neutral spine. And the benefit of this is, again, just stretching out your hip flexors. When you're sitting in a chair for long periods of time, whether you feel it or not, these muscles are still being activated or turned on. And so if they're statically turned on for long periods of time, that's what's going to cause low back stiffness and tightness over time due to shifting of pelvic position. I digress from that, and here's the other side, hopefully from a better angle for you to see that I'm still trying to keep my hips underneath my ribs. As I'm going forward and back, I'm trying not to push my hips forward with my back or chest falling backwards. I'm actively using the desk to pull myself forwards and building friction with my fists on the desk. So again, I'm not grabbing the desk with my hands. That way, as I'm pulling forwards, I'm engaging my lats, and I'm still getting almost as much as I possibly can out of this hip flexor stretch. Again, I do 3 reps, regular pace, regular speed, and then I do 3 reps with a pause at my end range to position to really just appreciate and feel that end range stretch. I really think you'll like that one and benefit a lot from it. This last one here is almost kind of like a modified down dog. Basically, I'm going to have my hands on the desk with my feet an appropriate distance apart. And all I'm gonna do from this position is just push my hips as far back as I possibly can, as if I'm imagining trying to touch that wall behind me with my butt cheeks. Right, so as I do that, I'm getting an excellent stretch in my hamstrings, as well as, if you notice, I'm trying to push my head through my shoulders when I get to this end range position to really stretch my lats, stretch the front parts of my shoulders, which are virtually going to be overly tight if I, again, am sitting for too long. And this, again, is an excellent movement to really get blood circulating through the lower and upper limbs of the body. Right, I'm actively driving my heels through the floor as I stand up. I adjusted my position because I found right here I'm able to get a deeper hinge and less compensation with my upper body. Right, so that way I have fairly flexible hamstrings, so I can actually get into this position comfortably. So just adjust this one to your comfort level and what you can tolerate. Try and do 10 reps. Give me a nice long exhale at that bottom range position to relax into your end position. And this will be the last stretch of this stretching complex here. Please try this movement multiple times throughout.